Erin Blanchfield versus Maycee Barber takes place this weekend at the Apex. I'm gonna go through the whole card, giving you my thoughts on each fight, and who I think will win. And once again, I will go on a major rant on how they need to get out of the Apex. The Apex is one of the things that's damaging this promotion, and really nobody has hype for this card. But before I get into it, if you did not watch my update on BJ Penn yesterday, I made a long video detailing his arrest that happened, or I guess 2 days ago, and the restraining order that BJ Penn's mom put on him. So if you're interested in that story, go check it out. I've been really on top of that one. Without further ado, though, let's get into these fights. Rand Dos Santos versus Alisar Dwayne. Dos Santos on a 2 fight losing streak. Arduino on a 2 fight losing streak. Dos Santos losing to Puja Tomar and Alencar by decision. Arduino or split decision. Arduino lost a unanimous decision to Melissa Martinez and a split to Shanna Bannon. Before that, though, she was on a 3 fight win streak. All by first round finish. De La Alpha at UFT. Jessica Monemi by first round doctor stoppage. And Jenny Line. You look at Rand Dos Santos. She was over in Invicta, won the title against Joanne DeCourcy by unanimous decision. I'm gonna go Dos Santos. She's younger. She has the better losses to Alencar and Tomar. And with Alistar Dwayne, again, I need to see her do it at the UFC level. I I can't really credit most of the outside wins for a UFC fighter because of what happens. The majority of these people who get in the UFC and they're not, the 5% that actually go on to have a successful career. But she is young. I'm gonna go with the decision here. Not really much than that. This fight though, Markel Marderos versus Balaji Okay. This is a fun fight. Uh, Medeiros beat Austin Hubbard by split decision in his last fight. Landon Quino, the fight before that, KO'd Isa Isakov and Justice Wayne Perez in the first round and beat Michael Murphy by unanimous decision. He's on a really good run. Oki, he got submitted by Chris Duncan in his last fight. Well, before that, beat Timmy Kawamba by split decision. KO doing Salvador, and was doing really good in the promotion he was in before, which I can't read. Uh, Atomic. Oh, it's right there. Yeah. Um, Ultimately, I'm gonna go Medeiros to get it done by a second round TKO. This will be more of a stand-up fight, which I think favors Medeiros, and I think Medeiros will do better in the clinch. I think he'll do better at gauging distance, and ultimately, I like his striking better than I'm already forgetting Okay. Um, I think it'll be a fun fight. I expect this fight to end in a finish. Medeiros is young though. All looks like he'll have a promising career. We move on to Kurt Holloway versus Jordan Levitt. Holloway coming off of a loss to Alexander Hernandez. Beat Kanan Khrushchevsky, lost to Trey Ogden. But he beat Austin Herbert and they had a really good run on the Ultimate Fighter season 31. Jordan Levitt, we know, lost his last fight to Chase Hooper by first round and rear naked choke, who Chase Hooper is on his way to becoming a ranked contender. Another guy who was really young and early into his career. You got Victor Martinez, he KO'd in the first round, got a performance bonus off of that. got submitted by Patty Quinwet, which is another loss that is aging really well. Patty Quinwet just beat Michael Chandler and is working to fight Justin Gaethje, from what I'm hearing. And then he beat Trey Ogden with a split decision and submitted Matt Saitways. Ultimately, I think Holloway will get it done here in the third round. I was going to go with the second round TKO. He just has more to use on the feet. Yeah, I feel like his kicks are better. He can rip to the body better than Levitt. And Levitt's path to victory is in the submission game. And I think that Holloway will be able to fight Levitt off, land some damage in the first and second round, and then potentially find that shot late in the third to drop him, finish him on the ground. That's how I expect this fight to go. We move on to Trevin Giles versus Andreas Gustafsson. Trevin Giles is in a very interesting spot. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. He lost to Mike Malott. He got KO'd by Carlos Prates. Got submitted by Gabriel Bonfim. Those are not bad losses to have, but they are bad when it's 3 in a row. He beat Preston Parsons by split decision and Luis Koski by unanimous decision. You go over and you look at Gustafsson. He's only had one professional fight, but in his amateur career, he has been incredible. He did a lot of good things in KSW. KO'd Dominic Silver at FCR. Tony Lampin. Uh, it's difficult because Giles wins fights until he doesn't. And I think the same thing will happen here. And I think Gustafsson gets it done late in the second round after Giles has a strong first and start the second. I feel like Giles taking the fight on short notice. Once again, majority of his fights have been on short notice. He's kind of like the Anthony Smith of 170. He wins fights until he doesn't. And you look at Gustafsson as well. He's never been finished in a professional or amateur fight. This is a good debut for him. It's just a matter of, I don't know if it's a mentality. I think it's a mentality thing with Giles. It's very weird though. It's very weird because, like I keep saying, he does really good at the start of fights, and then it just falls apart. So I'm going to go with Gustafsson to get a win in his UFC debut. We move on to Caitlin Jarrell versus Maycee Barber. Caitlin Jarrell, we know, lost to Kayla Harrison at UFC 307, which Kayla is now fighting Pena for the title at UFC 3. Is it 316? Yeah, there's 316. Um, she beat Pena, Kyanzad, lost to Raquel Pennington by split decision. She beat Holly Holm in a fight that she looked awful in. And Holly Holm at like, what, 40, 38 was giving her a lot of issues. And a lot of, I know a lot of people that actually thought Holly Holm won that fight. Then you have Misha Tate. She beat by unanimous decision with the same thing with Holly Holm. She struggled a lot more than a top contender should with a veteran like that. Maycee Barber, though, she has been on a really good run. She beat Mayra Bueno Silva, who just beat Alexa Grosso at UFC 314. She submitted Penny, uh, Penny Kyanzad, Byron Nick and choke. Common opponent right there. She finished her in the first round. She lost to Irene Aldana due to an upset to the weapon. Beat Norma Duval for decision and lost to Raquel Pennington by guillotine choke. She's only losing to title contenders. So is Karen Vera. But I think that Maycee has way more ways to win this fight. I think that she, she'll have minimal um, adversity in the grappling, I do believe. And that's where I find the difference for Maycee Chardon. I'm going to go with a decision for her. I honestly can't see her finishing this fight, though. Vera hasn't impressed me at all throughout her entire career. She struggled with a 40-year-old Misha Tate, and she struggled with Holly Holm at 40. And I think Chayson, her key to victory here is to pressure her the most in the fight, make it an ugly fight, engage in clinch, put her up against the fence, even though I hate it, and just wear her out that way. And I think that Maycee Chardon could be looking at a title shot in the very near future. We move on to Rafael Fiallo taking on Alan Nascimento. This is another fun fight. Fiallo has been on a really good run. Uh, Three of his last five ended in the first round. Submitted ODRs, one got a performance of the night bonus for that. Submitted Daniel Perez with a arm triangle. He lost his official debut to Muhammad Makayev, but he nearly submitted Muhammad Makayev. Muhammad Makayev really had to pull it out of the fire to come back, stay in that fight, and ultimately found the choke. He then KO'd Roybert Echeverria in the third round on the Contender Series. Beat Davis and Silva by a naked choke. Nascimento, he submitted Carlos Hernandez in the first round. Got a performance bonus fight. I'm not going to rate a win against Carlos Hernandez that high because, well, no, never mind. I take that back. Carlos Hernandez is a difficult fight for anybody who's not Asian. Carlos Hernandez, I don't know why, only gets Asian fighters. But before he submitted Hernandez, he beat Jake Hathaway by a unanimous decision. Lost to Takeo Rebecca by split decision. Submitted Alvaro Lima in Brazil. And lost his Contender Series fight by split decision to Raylan Palba. I think this will be a very entertaining fight. Ultimately, I see Fuego getting it done by a second round submission, and it has to do with the inactivity of Nascimento. He's had 4 fights canceled due to him pulling out since the Hernandez fight. Fuego is the younger active fighter, and he has been a difficult fighter on the ground. I don't know why my other point didn't appear, but I do think Phil has a much higher ceiling than Nascimento does. Like, there are very few fighters in this game who can take a long layoffs, who can, you know, return to the cage after a year and a half, 2 years, and have the same, if not around the success they had before when they were active. So I feel like this fight is a good opportunity for Filo to get another win and work his way up to becoming a contender. We'll see though. I could be completely wrong on this. But again, when you're not active, when you're pulling out fights, it's not a good sign. Now we move on to Zachary Reese versus Dusko Todorovic. I am a really big Zachary Reese fan. He got KO'd by Asma Bakalov in his last fight. Beat Jose Medina. KO'd Julian Marquez, who was KO'd by everybody recently. He got stopped by Cody Rondon with a slam and submitted Eli Aronova. Uh, he beat Eli by an armbar. I'm done saying these names. Dusko Todorovic, he got killed by Mansur Abdul Malik, got injured against Christian Leroy Duncan, beat Jordan Wright, got a performance bonus for a second round TKO, got killed by Chidina Jokawani, and Maki Pitolo, he beat by first round TKO with ground and pound. I really want Zachary Reese to win this fight. In my eyes, this this is a fight to get him to rebound. And I see him getting it done by a second round TKO. He has a major size advantage too. I think he's over 6 foot, and Buddy's like 5'6", 5'7", something like that. I could be wrong. Uh, but yeah, he needs time to get into fights. Dusko is a very slow fighter, which I feel like a guy like Zachary Reese can do enough work in the early rounds to find an opening and ultimately get him down and finish him. But Zachary Reese, I'm pulling for you, man. I want you to win. You are one of my favorite fighters currently. I really like your style. Don't disappoint me. We move on to Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopez. Dustin Jacoby had a very good fight with Vitor Petrino. Vitor Petrino did give him some adversity, but ultimately he got it done with the right cross in the third round. He got killed by Dominic Reyes. So Dominic Reyes is on an insurgence. And you guys know, I'm a Jones fan, as difficult as it is to be. Man, seeing Dominic get that close and go through what he did, I know Dominic, we're not talking about Dominic here. Seeing the resurgence that he's gone on is one of the reasons I love this sport. I even made a video titled Dominic Reyes' performance is the reason I love this sport, because at any moment you can lose it, but at any moment you can get it and you can run with it and you can come back. But back to Dustin Jacoby. He KO Kennedy Njokuani, who is now at heavyweight. I think the move on to heavyweight was really good for him. Lopez, you look at him. He's on a 3-fight win streak. Beat Magomed Gajshua by unanimous decision. KO'd Sazahani and submitted Brigaggio. Got KO'd by Benson Rabiel in the first round, and got KO'd Palva. Am I getting better for what? He KO'd Palva in the second round to defend his title. I'm going to go with Dustin Jacoby though. Um, I think he gets it done in the third round. He arguably beat Cole Roundtree in their fight, and he's a better striker with momentum now. I really think that the Vitor Petrino win for him was massive. To take out a guy like that who's looked at as a boogeyman of the division, I'm hoping that he can roll that into a win streak here and rebound a bit. I don't think Jacoby is good enough to be a top contender. I'm not even sure if he's good enough to be a top 15 contender, but he's still a problem. Um, yeah, like losing to Murzakanov, who's still undefeated, not a bad loss. I'm gonna go with Jacoby, man. I I wanted to get it done, and like I said, this would be a really big win for him to get back on a winning streak. We move on to Billy Ray Goff versus Ramirez Rahimov. This, I believe, is the third to last fight. Billy Ray Goff lost to Trey Waters in his last fight by unanimous decision, but he did get a bonus for that fight. It was a really fun fight. He KO'd Yusaka Kinoshita in the first round with a body shot, followed up by ground and pound. And he had two other first round knockouts, one on the contender series, and got a second round TKO, one by elbow. Rahimaj, he KO'd Mickey Gall in his last fight. Yeah, Sandberger Rainbow, he lost by unanimous decision. I know Sandberger Rainbow is a feel good story. Rainbow has not impressed me in the slightest recently. Michael Gilmore, he submitted in the first round, lost Cormagee, and beat Sasha Paladnikov. Good one. He beat him by first round naked choke. I think Billy Ray Goff gets it done here. I think Goff will be the one advancing, and Rahimaj isn't able to hang with fighters that are the least bit talented. If you are able to have, you know, a decent job, or literally anything, any minor skill that you can have, and that you really master, Rahimaj struggles with. So I'm going to go with Billy Ray Goff to get it done by decision. Then we move on to Matthias Gamrot versus Wadovic Klein. This fight, I get it, but I don't get it at the same time. Gamrot coming off of a split decision against Dan Hooker. It was a really good fight. He got a bonus for it. And, you know, I've heard mixed things. When I asked people about that fight at UFC 305, some people thought Gamrot won, some people thought Dan won, but it was a really good close fight against two top guys in the division. He beat RDA by unanimous decision. I know RDA is old, but it's still a really good win. Rafael Fiziev, he injured his leg in the second round. Jalen Turner, he beat by split decision. And Benil Daniels, he lost by unanimous decision to at UFC 280, way back when Makachev won his belt. You look at Klein, he's on a 4 fight win streak. Beat Roosevelt Roberts by unanimous decision. Thiago Moises, he beat by unanimous decision. KO'd AJ Cunningham with a front body kick. And beat Ignacio Bahamadis by unanimous decision. Had a draw, majority draw with Jai Herbert. I'm leaning towards Gamma, and I think that Gamma will get this done. I just don't know if Gamma is a top contender. I I don't think Gamma can hang with the top five of this division. Maybe Gaethje, maybe, but then again, that's me banking on Gaethje's going to massively decline in his actual fight, which he worked really good against Fiziev. It sucks that we didn't get to see the Hooker fight because then that would only make Gamrot's loss to him that much better, and then put Gamrot in a better position. Hopefully, we get that fight. Ultimately, though, I'm going to go with Gamrot. I originally was going to go with a second round TKO. I honestly think that he should be able to finish Klein in this fight. If you are a top contender, if you are top 10, top 8 in your division, you should be able to, put everybody on the map. Like, hey, I only lose to the best of the division. He hasn't been fighting in a while. He hasn't fought in a while due to some cancer fights and whatnot. Klein's best chance is at range, but I think that Cameron will be able to close the range efficiently. And he's been in the cage with the top lightweights. And the Armand and Hooker fights were very close. It wouldn't shock me if he won that Hooker fight. The Armand fight was that was a bit more clear that Armand wanted. But again, you still could have given that fight to Gamrot. And maybe we're talking about Gamrot just fighting Islam. Or, Gamrot looking to fight Poirier or whoever wins that fight. Um I'm not very confident in this pick, but I think he should be able to get it done. Honestly, he should be able to get this done by knockout. But we'll see. Then we move on to the long awaited main event. The fight that you guys have been waiting for. I know that everybody, the moment this fight was announced, marked this day on their calendar. We are finally going to get Erin Blanchfield versus Maycee Barber. Honestly, the Kellen Vieira fight makes more sense to me as the headliner. But Blanchfield, she beat Rose Namajunas in the last fight. Looked good again. Rose Namajunas is still a really good one to have, former champion, and she's doing pretty good. Still, she lost to Manon Ferro, who just had a close fight with Valentina Shevchenko. Vitoria Santos submitted Jessica Andrade, but again, everybody isn't finishing Andrade lately. Molly McCann, she's submitted by a Kimura. Maycee Barber, you look at her last five, she's 5-5. Big Caitlin, uh, Sermonera by unanimous decision. TKO'd Amanda Rebus went to a split decision with Andrea Lee, beat Jessica I, and beat Montana De La Rosa. Uh, who do I want to go with? Because I already picked who I thought would win, but now that I'm working at it, I'm second guessing myself. I really like the win against Blanchfield. And I feel like, or Rose Namajunas. And I feel like Blanchfield, you look at these names, Rose, Thoreau, Andrade, those are bigger names than Amanda Rebus, Andrea Lee, and Jessica I. Who did I pick? I did pick Blanchfield. She beat Rose. I feel like the smaller cage will help her, you know, close the distance. And she has a high chance of getting Maycee Barber down, I feel. Maycee Barber has really struggled in the grappling department in some of her fights. And I feel like somebody like Blanchfield, if she chooses to go with a pressure heavy um approach, I could see Maycee Barber maybe winning a round or two, but I think overall Erin Blanchfield will be the one controlling this fight and ultimately getting it done by a decision. Probably, 48-47, the typical female main event. But again, man, I really get the fuck out of the Apex. Why are we still in the Apex? I do not get it. I don't get it. Like, if you're gonna use it for I didn't mean to open that up. If you're gonna use the Apex for the Contender Series. I get that. Kind of your home base. But at a time when we need hype, at a time we need, you know, people talking about MMA, we why are we going back to the Apex that has barely any seats? Why are we trying to sell out venues every single week? Nobody wants the fucking Apex fights. It's not nostalgic to go back and, oh, hey, this is how they were doing it back in 2021 and 2020 and all these other dates. Nobody likes the Apex. The only upside of the Apex is for certain fighters where a smaller cage is favorable to them. I'm just no, like, who honestly has been circling this date on their calendar? I know I made a joke of it, but man, we're getting better fights. We're getting better fights. I ain't calm down. But those are my predictions. I know that you guys were waiting desperately for my picks on the greatest fight night ever. Well, let me know your picks. Let me know what you thought about my picks. What are the fights you're most interested in on this card? Once again, thank you for all the support. And if you made it to the end of this video, go check out the video I made on BJ Penn. We need everybody to know what's going on in that situation, and hopefully we can maybe make a difference, no matter how small it is. But thanks for watching. Later.